This is Centered, where faith meets everyday life. Our hope is to invite you into a better story, a story where you're made new through Jesus, living with God-given purpose, and experiencing peace, joy, and freedom. Together, we'll explore what it means to keep Jesus at the center of where we live, work, and play, bringing beauty, meaning, and renewal to every part of our lives. Thank you for joining us. Here are your hosts, David and Ben.
Well, hello and welcome to Centered, where mic etiquette is optional, but what's not optional is Jesus. Yes,
Not
in the
optional.
everyday stuff of life.
Not optional at all.
Not optional. Very important.
Or
Essential.
Or whole fingers.
Well, this.
Dude, you got a
little softball injury.
Hurt digit there.
Little
What
softball
happened?
injury. Well, unexpected throw from about 5 feet away and very hardly, thrown hard.
By your own teammate.
By my own teammate. And I was making a defensive catch.
Yeah.
And I should show you. Maybe if Tanner's up for it, I'll show him or I'll have him show everyone. But
On the old YouTube.
that's the
Oh, man, that looks painful.
and
bro.
then that's a little swollen. And
yeah.
It's a good time. So I do not recommend playing softball with Chad Richardson. No, I do not recommend
Little call out.
throwing the ball that hard when someone's 5 feet away.
Well, beside your hurt digit, how are you?
I'm pretty good. My heart's hurt a little. My Raiders didn't look so good yesterday.
Yeah, what happened?
I think it's the energy that Freddie brought at the beginning of the sermon.
Bad discipleship happening in our church.
Yeah, I was like,
dude, you know what's funny? As he started, and I was like, I have no idea.
You're freaking out.
He
You're
starts
like,
calling out the elders and the staff and the leaders. And I'm like, what is going to happen? My Bucks did all right, though.
I had a feeling that's where he was going, actually.
Did you? No,
Yeah,
that's
I did.
funny. I had no idea.
He said something on Wednesday that made me think, but I was just pleased he didn't call me out.
No,
personally,
yeah.
I was expecting that. He called out Chiefs fans.
Totally, which is weird because you're in the room.
Yeah. He was actually nice to me right before then. It was really great. Yeah. I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I feel like last week was heavy. It was just heavy, and I still feel a little bit of that, but starting to come out and get some clarity and thoughts and all of that.
Yeah. I still felt like I was in a bit of a fog on Sunday. Honestly.
Did you? Yeah. Yeah. Similarly.
Yeah. It's been.
I did a 2-hour class last night on partnership. So Mosaic partnership. And it kind of fired me up, man. It took me out of the slump a little bit of man, I do believe in the church.
I'm going next week. I'm going next week. I need it.
Maybe, unless you have softball.
Well, and maybe shouldn't play.
Dude, you're injured. You got to get on the injury report.
After I had another at bat. I had a single. I scored. Dude. You just do it.
After you did that. Nice.
Oh yeah.
It takes a while for an
I
injury
did.
to
I
settle in.
ripped the AC joint on my shoulder and played the second game of the doubleheader. This is what you do,
bro.
It's what you do.
Well, last night we were in the middle of having a discussion on our doctrinal beliefs, and I got to eschatology. And Scott and Aubrey got up and left right in the middle of it. And then I was like, "What did I say?" And they said, "Oh, we have a softball game to go to." And I was like, "Oh, good.
It's your eschatology. I can't be a part of this."
They became partners last night, so they filled out their card. We're good to go. But apparently, your softball team has a pretty strong draw.
Yeah, it's important.
It's magnetic.
It is. It's just fun. That's really what it is.
It is fun.
Yeah. Well, hey, we had a great Sunday, and even though, like I said, it kind of felt like I was in a fog. It felt like the Spirit was moving, God's doing things, and Freddie had a great message.
Yeah.
Really, the storytelling. I actually was able to. I felt like I was watching The Chosen.
Huh. Like you could imagine
like I could
scene.
picture stuff because he's
yeah.
like bringing out like details and things that I didn't necessarily think of on my own.
When you just read,
like they might be running.
Yeah.
If they can, their nose, they might not have a nose. They might be like half a digit, or whatever.
Yeah.
And just bringing some of these things to life that they'd lost everything, like all these different things. And I was just like, oh, wow. I mean, I know, like, the picture of leprosy, the picture of, separation, but I hadn't, in that moment thought it through and applied it to this whole story. And so he did a great job.
Yeah, he did do a great job. It was a great Sunday, like all around.
Yeah.
Worship was awesome.
Yeah, really good.
Yep. We had a ton of people receive prayer at the end of the service, which was really, really
beautiful.
cool. And so, man, God's doing stuff at our little church.
It's exciting.
Yeah, it is exciting.
And, there's always stuff that doesn't hit the message. And I got to shout out to Freddie. He was done on time.
But he did better than I did.
He did.
Yeah.
Better than I did too. He did. So
that's what it's nice to have other people come up and it challenges you.
Like, I can do this.
I can do it.
I can do this.
Possible.
Yeah. But there's always stuff that doesn't make it into the message. And so, it's time for the cutting room floor.
Yeah. I have a ton of stuff with that passage that I think is cool, but I always text Freddie. I was like, hey, I'm going into the podcast. He's at work, and we want to honor his time, so we don't want to take him away from that.
That's why he's not here.
That's why he's not here. But I texted him and I was like, hey, is there anything that that you want me to hit as I go into the podcast? And one of the things that he said is he really wished, it's funny that you said you could picture yourself there.
Yeah.
Like it was like watching The Chosen. But one of the things he wished he would have hit even further is kind of that the humanness of that text, like a little bit further.
Yeah.
Not just on the leprosy side, but also on the healing side.
Yeah.
Of like how, the 9 get a lot of shade thrown at them. There's a lot of shame for them, like not going back and talking to Jesus. But there's also one of the things that I think he would say, and he didn't tell me this specifically, but I can...
know him.
I know him well enough to say he wishes he would have said something about Jesus's willingness to heal.
Even though he knew they wouldn't come back.
Even though he knew they wouldn't come back. Yeah. And that's just like the character of, one, how Freddie knows Jesus, but 2, who Jesus actually is. Like it wasn't like Jesus was healing and being like, oh, I can't believe you came back. You know what I mean? Like he was all bummed about it. He knew before it was even happened what it was going to be like. He was trying to make a statement about the condition of Israel in that moment by bringing that out. But Jesus delights to heal. Like he wasn't like, there was not an ounce of him that was like, man, I wish I wouldn't have healed them.
Right. Like when he told the story briefly, like was it Luke 5, I think, where if you're willing, and Jesus like, I am willing.
I'm willing.
Like he's always willing.
Yeah, he's always willing.
Yes.
And that's the heart of Christ that is there that I just think, man, I think he delights to bring kingdom joy into people's lives in many different ways. But in the text, what we do see is that there is a greater healing that needs to take place in us other than just our physical or circumstantial life, which I think is something that I love about that text and always want to explore more, like as a Christian. And there's probably places in my life where I'm chasing or defining blessing in the wrong way. And so I'm chasing things that I think are going to be a blessing, but in the end, they're actually a hindrance or actually keep me from the true blessing, which is Christ and knowing Jesus and being in relationship to him. And so, that was one piece that I really thought I would have loved to explore a little bit more in that text.
I do think that's interesting because one, I thought the story part was so good, but also like, just that idea that, and I didn't think about it. Like Jesus knew.
Yeah.
He knew. He knew 10 were getting healed and 1 was coming back.
Totally. Yeah.
And he still was willing.
Yeah.
I mean, he's making a point and he's, using it as like teachable moment. I try to do that occasionally with my
Your
kids.
kids, yeah. Totally.
Yeah, not nearly as effective, but like he, but what he didn't do is say, I know you 9 aren't coming back.
Yeah.
So no healing for you or partial healing for you or whatever. It's like, no, you got the same healing.
Yeah.
Like he extends that.
And I think that is the restorative thrust of the gospel is holistic. And so like God is not just trying to save souls to heaven. He wants us to become whole.
Yeah.
And that's a huge, I think, thing that I think it's one thing that we see in that text is that God cares about their physical well-being, but he cares about their emotional well-being. He cares about their spiritual well-being. He cares about their mental well-being, and like God really wants to bring wholeness into our lives. And I think as this one is developing a relationship with Jesus and coming back with things like gratitude, like part of his journey is just beginning.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
for sure.
like the full restorative process of like, man, you think you can just get a job or worship in the temple or, these things, but there's so much more that Jesus is inviting us into. And I think that's a message for our people.
Yeah.
Like, and
we talked about it.
Yeah.
We talked about it a little bit in our lead team meeting, different context.
Yeah.
But just like, how do we create space where like the most important thing isn't the outcome.
Yep.
It isn't like your finances, your job, whatever, like, but the most important thing is being made whole by Jesus.
Yeah.
And like creating spaces and environments where people feel safe to share their brokenness so they can find healing.
Yeah.
And that's huge.
Yeah. Well, it's no secret that there is a connection between obedience and faith. And Freddie talked about that a little bit. He brought it up. I wanted him to go there like deeper.
Yeah.
That was like one spot because I hit it in the.
Well,
in our
I was gonna
meeting.
say you had a slightly different, not take, but emphasis.
Yeah.
In that pre-service, and so let's talk a little bit. About
I
that.
just thought I think it's really cool how their healing didn't take place until they took their first step.
Yeah.
Like it was the healing was activated by their response to Jesus's command,
right?
By obedience to what Jesus told them to do. And man, I think there's something to that in our faith. Sometimes I think we're waiting for God to do something for us before we respond or react to him.
Then
it's true. He already has acted. Like there's already enough of God's like beauty and presence for us to respond to. But oftentimes, like it is going to be in our first step where we actually experience the promises of God.
Yeah. Oh, and it seems like that's how God's grace works. Like in your first steps of faith, man, it seems like God is just so like, kind.
Yeah.
He shows himself in like really interesting ways to the person who's new to faith. And I've never understood like if we change and we just stop seeing those things and God's still doing it.
Yeah.
Or if that's just a special thing for the new person to faith that God does that just wants you to like experience and see like, yes, I am real. Yes, I am working. Yes, I am for you. Yes, I am with you. And so, there's something about that.
There is that. And it's actually a pattern in the scriptures. So even, could you imagine like when the Israelites were being freed from Egypt and Pharaoh, and they had to take those first steps into the wilderness.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like they had no idea
Terrifying.
what was going to happen, or they had to move towards the Red Sea and like step into these like raging waters and trust that God is. It was like they didn't get to experience the miracle until they trusted God. And there's something about faith that helps us to experience God in deeper and more real ways. But it is an invitation, and Freddie did these deep calls out unto deep. There is something about stepping out that is required of Christian faith if we're going to experience more of God. We have to take a risk. We have to step out. We have to obey before we feel, before we experience the blessing. That's all the principle that is there when it comes to faith. And it's not just a one-time thing. It's all throughout Scripture.
And it's interesting. At first I was thinking that seems to be like maybe what faith looks like today. For us in a world where Jesus isn't physically present, but I actually think, no, that's not true. It was true in Jesus' time because he would often say, your faith has healed you.
Yeah.
So Jesus is basically his healing is a response to their faith.
Yeah.
And so it really is, it's something powerful that we probably shouldn't miss.
Yeah.
That it
There's
requires
something to that.
like our faith. And faith isn't just here. Like I think we tend to think of faith as like,
it. Yeah.
Intellect or belief or whatever.
Yeah.
But like true faith requires action.
Yeah. Totally.
And so it's like, I tend to think until you act, your faith isn't real.
Yeah.
Like you have to act in some way. It doesn't have to be this like profound thing even. Like it could be the smallest step of faith.
Yeah.
But faith requires action. And so until we step into that faith.
Faith oftentimes, like, and it's actually opposite of what we think. Like faith oftentimes is an action that is it's in opposition to your rational or logic. So like I was thinking, my son and I we were hiking down into this ravine, and he's terrified of heights, hates hiking. And I could see on his body, like everything in him doesn't want to do this thing. And we're crossing this little area, and it's sandy and slippery, and he's freaking out a little bit. And I had to like look him in the eye, and I was like, Moses, I love you. Like, give me your hand and trust me. And he did. But I can tell that it was not rational in his mind.
Right.
Like there was nothing.
The fear is still there.
Fear is there, and that in his mind he's thinking, I am going to die.
Yeah.
But something compelled him to trust me and know my strength and love for him and trust that more than what his brain was telling him in that moment.
Well, and faith is not the absence of fear.
Right.
Like I think we tend to think in these like this. We create this false dichotomy of like, if I have faith, I don't have fear.
Well, we have those bumper stickers, faith over fear. You know,
right.
like,
and it's just, it's not helpful because the reality is like real faith is stepping out in the midst of your fear.
Totally.
But trusting despite
that
your fear.
Yeah. And
fear
think about
isn't
Peter
gone.
stepping out of the boat when I just watched that episode of The Chosen.
Yeah.
And dude, it's terrifying. He's terrified, you know, but who
wouldn't be?
There's something about Jesus where it's enough to say, I'm going against the grain of how I feel. And man, this happens in big ways and small ways in our lives of just, and we try to invite people every week. Hey, there's a next step of faith for you. There's a next step of faith for you. And it can be small, it can be big, but everyone has that step of faith. The reason why we do that is because we know healing and clarity is going to come from that action.
Right.
Like even if they don't have it yet, like if they're just waiting to make sense of community or waiting to make sense of service or waiting to make sense of generosity or waiting to make sense, it's going to be found in participation, not in the passiveness.
Yeah. It's not through a book.
Yep.
It's not through, academia or whatever, it's none of those things. It's actually the experience.
Yeah. And I would even argue people who, have more an apologetics like bent who need stuff proven to them. I would even argue that it's actually not the logic that wins them over. It's their search. It's the fact that they're doing something to like search for the truth. And it's actually that little act of searching that opens them up to experience God in that way. It's an act of faith. It really is, because if they didn't believe something was there, they wouldn't bother with it.
Right.
Right. And so you hear that story all the time. Well, no, I did my research, and it's like, God was wooing you and drawing you in, and your act of searching for him was actually the faith that was required to receive him in that moment. So that's my little bit on that piece. And I think, I think that's a really important part. The other piece that, there's something about gratitude that, changes our world. And I haven't I didn't dive into it in the text in this time because I didn't spend a lot of time like studying it like Freddie did. this week. But when I was reading the text, and even when I was thinking about what I was going to say to the volunteers, and I didn't even get to hit it, but there's just something about the gratitude of the one that returned that I think is intriguing. Mm-hmm. And I just I wonder what role gratefulness plays in our faith being alive and active in our in the everyday stuff.
Well, I think it plays a huge role in our wholeness.
Yeah.
And there's studies, and I don't have the data, so don't at me. But there are studies out there that talk about the correlation between gratitude and mental health, or how gratitude can be the antidote to anxiety.
Yeah.
And stress, and some of the things that are really prominent in today's culture. And I think so much of it is we're in this rat race. We're so focused on the outcomes that we don't focus on what's right now, and what's good, and what God's given us and offered us. And so we're just so focused on what's ahead, what I don't have yet, what I need to get, whatever it is. And so we get into this cycle of anxiety, stress, depression.
Yeah.
And because we don't have the things that we long for, or we think are really important, or we've assigned some value to.
Yeah.
And there's real studies out there, scientific studies, that just talk about how people who have gratitude have less anxiety, less stress.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know what that is. I would love to dive into that more, but there is part of what's being alluded to in that passage when Jesus says, "Where are the 9?" is that the 9 think that they are owed a Messiah and a salvation.
Because they're Israel.
They're Israel. They're God's chosen people.
Yeah.
Of course God is going to save us and heal us and do for, there's a pride and a lack of humility and a sense of entitlement that's being alluded to in that context that is not it's hard for us to see, because we don't tend to look at the whole backstory and why they walked away. But there is a sense where they thought they were more worthy of the healing than the Samaritan.
Yeah. Well, and I think in Freddie, I think part of what, because he alluded to this, the humanness of you almost can't blame them for not coming back.
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden they have this newfound freedom. They have life that they just did not have before. And so they want to go live it. But this one guy, he had the same experience, same story, but he doesn't have this expectation.
Yeah.
And what
There's
does
no
he do?
entitlement.
He comes back and he just says, "Thank you."
Yeah.
And he gives praise to God. Where are the other 9?
Which means that something in him knew that he wasn't owed that or worthy of that. And I think that's where gratitude comes in. I think self-righteousness or pride or entitlement keeps us from gratitude. And
I think that's real.
I think it's impossible to experience the things that Jesus has for us in this life without a general sense of humility of man, anything that's good, I don't deserve it. I'm not, God doesn't owe me anything. And I know a lot of people struggle in times of, difficulties, whether it's health issues or whether it's circumstantial issues, where they move towards this accusatory attitude towards God, which means somewhere along the line, I think they're owed something by God, which means they don't really understand who they are, why they were created, how they rebel and reject God in even small and subtle ways all the time. I know I do that. You know what I mean?
Why me?
Yeah. Why me? Why is this going? Why do I have to go through this? Why can't it be easy? Why can't, whatever. And it's a posture that actually, and the Bible actually says God opposes the proud, but gives grace to the humble. And what a lot of people don't understand is that in the way that antiquity writes stuff, there's a lot of hyperbole And there's a lot of correlation that's involved in that. And so what that's saying is our own pride becomes an opposition to God. It opposes us.
It's our
yeah, it's not like God is up there going, I oppose you. It's actually the thing that
the pride is
keeps us from actually moving into who God is and his kingdom, his blessing and his healing and drawing near and all of that kind of thing. And it's grace, it's humility that actually allows us to move closer to God. And this isn't like a punishment thing. No. Like, oh, you're proud, so I'm going to oppose you. This is a reality. This is what pride does to you.
Yeah, we've talked about like the gospel or grace as like a door or a window, and you could think of pride as a wall.
Yeah.
And you just keep running into the wall. And there's a door.
Yeah.
And there's a knob you can just grab and turn and open.
And it's true apart from God.
Yeah.
So like in relationships, right? Pride like keeps you from saying sorry or keep you from like, asking someone for advice or help or whatever. Like pride is a wall even apart from God.
Right. Absolutely. It's just it's a reality of the world that we live in. And that is also true of our relationship with God.
Yeah. And the things that we find pride in are pretty ridiculous sometimes.
Yeah, usually pretty superficial.
Superficial things.
Like, oh gosh.
Yeah, which keep us from like one another. And so those are the things, that stood up. I don't think there was anything else other than, man, if I was to do my little like gospel connection, like at the end of the day, man, we see Jesus becoming the true outcast for us. And so it's not that Jesus just welcomes or like heals the outcast. He actually becomes the outcast by dying on a cross. And it even uses very clear language when he is taken outside the walls to be crucified. That's a image of being an outcast. He's put up on a cross like a murderer, that is an outcast in community. And so Jesus literally became an outcast so that we can find belonging with him. And so that's the little gospel thread that's there.
Wow. Man, good stuff. I feel like we should pivot.
Okay.
As Ross says, pivot.
Pivot.
Time for some Just for Funsies.
Just for funsies.
What is it? What do we got?
I thought, okay, Freddie touched on celebrity culture.
Yeah.
A little bit in the sermon and, how it can be hard to get close to celebrities like musicians, actors, athletes, even pastors.
Oh. Never me.
Yeah. You're like, I wish I was harder. No. So I thought it would be fun if we did like a little micro draft.
Okay.
So we'll do like a snake draft. You get to choose if you want to pick first or second.
Okay.
But whoever picks second gets the third pick, and it just kind of goes to,
gotcha.
1, 2,
Yep.
And then 3 rounds.
Okay.
We're going to pick a celebrity or 3 celebrities that we would like to hang out with, but not in their world. No red carpets. Nothing fancy. It's in like just world. Your normal in your world. You're running to Costco.
Yeah.
Or, you're doing yard work or whatever.
Yep.
But who would you want to spend your time with? So you get to decide if you want to be the first pick or if you want to be second and you get 2 in a row.
Oh, I'll go second.
Okay.
Yep.
I think I had some time to think about this and I thought maybe if there was one on my list that you might try to take.
Oh.
I thought about it. So I said Nate Bargatze.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. You think about it.
Yeah.
Okay, he's low drama. I don't need that. Deadpan, hilarious.
Totally.
And probably the coolest thing.
Like naturally hilarious.
Yes,
not like jokes.
It's not forced.
Naturally hilarious.
And I feel like, if you're at Costco with Nate Bargatze, it'd be like he would see things that you wouldn't even see that are hilarious.
Oh,
and so he'd just be pointing out all this random stuff that's really funny.
I love it. That's a good one. I went to his show.
That's why I thought. I was like, maybe he would pick
Dumb
this
Eyes.
one.
I didn't. It wasn't on my list, but that is a good one.
Okay.
That is a really good one. Yeah. He's awesome. So mine would be Jeremy Allen White, who's from The Bear.
Yeah. Yes, chef.
Yeah. Yes, chef. And so dude, I would love to hang with him.
He's an
interesting character. Here's the thing. I never saw him in anything before The Chef.
Me neither.
Now I see him all the time. And I can't stand it. I can't stand him in another role other than chef.
You're just Carmy.
Totally. You're Carmy. I can't see what they think. But dude, he just like his intensity and just, I would love to just, I don't know what he's like in real life, but
no. But, and his character seems so broken.
Yeah.
That it would just be really interesting.
I would love.
Yeah. That's a good one.
Yeah. I might even like smoke a cigarette with him or something. You know what I mean? Like it would just like sit and hang.
Just whatever it takes, man.
Yeah, whatever it takes to hang with him.
Yeah, no, he goes into your world.
He goes in. Oh, gotcha.
That's right. So
we can smoke cigars.
There you go. Yeah,
I smoke cigars.
That's your world. That's your world. Yeah. Okay, so you get 2 in a row.
Okay. Second
pick.
is Taylor Fritz. He's the number one American tennis player.
Not on my list.
So I knew he wouldn't be on your list. But it was, dude, legitimately, I'm not a fanboy. Like I don't fan out on celebrities or anything like that. It's just not my thing. But when I was like feet away from these tennis players, dude, I legitimately like a 13-year-old girl like came out of me. I was so giddy about being near these people. It was great. Man. It was weird.
I would love to see that.
It's weird.
Especially in an environment like that where I am not giddy at all. I don't even know who these guys are.
They just look like people.
Yeah.
I'm just
and you're like,
do you know who that is? I've watched hours of these people play tennis, hours and hours and hours. Yeah. It was fun.
All right. That's good. I'll go with the sports one then.
Okay.
I'll go with the sports one.
Yeah.
I would say Clayton Kershaw. So Clayton Kershaw, Los Angeles Dodger, just announced his retirement, and Friday was his very last home start. He's a pitcher at Dodger Stadium, and I didn't cry because I don't really do that, but I felt stuff.
Yeah,
I was getting emotional. He 18 years, one team on the Dodgers, and he's a good guy. Like by all accounts, he's man of faith, very philanthropic. But I think. All that aside, he is known for his preparation. And so I'm like, dude, I think I could learn a lot from a guy like that who is just has such an intense focus on preparation and how it led to he's first ballot Hall of Famer, greatest pitcher of this era, hands down. And so,
it's a good one.
Kershaw.
All right. This is my last pick.
Oh, I get 2.
Oh, you get 2.
I get 2.
Okay,
it's a snake
you get
draft.
2. So a snake draft. Here you go.
I think I'm going to go with Jason Sudeikis, and because I think that belief isn't a poster. It's a practice. I don't know. The big believe sign.
Yeah.
I know he's not Ted Lasso.
Totally.
Okay.
Yeah.
But man, if anyone could bring that Ted Lasso energy it's got to be him, right? So I could use that kind of encouragement. Right. I could use all of it. And he's a pretty funny guy.
He is. Yeah. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Jim Gaffigan.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, he would be my comedian that I would love to. I love comedy. I watch a lot of comedy. I love comedy, but he's one of my favorites. He's another one that can take just everyday stuff and turn it into humor.
He's the OG Nate Bargatze.
He is.
He really is.
Although Nate Bargatze is the #1 grossing comedian in the world.
No, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's nuts.
It's huge. Packed out arenas, not comedy clubs.
Nope. Yeah.
Packed out arenas.
Yeah. It's insane.
Which is why I picked him first.
Yeah. He's good. Yeah. He could float the bill. Even though he's coming into your world, he could.
Right.
He could float the bill.
For sure. Another good reason to, have him come along. You pay for my Costco run? Cool.
Any of these guys could buy us coffee at Starbucks.
Okay. So here's what I think we need is we need listener participation. So one of 2 things. Throw your celebrity
comment
in the comments. Tell us why.
Let us know.
Or probably more importantly, tell us whose list was better.
Yeah.
Yeah. We want to know.
All right.
That's just for funsies.
Everyone's like, who's Taylor Fritz?
Yeah. See, I got a leg up on you.
Nobody knows.
It's going to be good. All right, let's get back to the message.
Yeah.
I think like some of my stuff is kind of tangential because he hit so many things throughout the message. And this was actually kind of in the intro, but he said that the gospel offends us, which we've heard that said a lot. And of course I agree with. And he kind of like talked through like what that is, how it pushes against our politics, our finances, et cetera, everything that we hold to.
Yeah.
And what I was thinking about is how many, and I've been part of this, Christians are sitting in the room going, yeah, the gospel offends you. Like that mindset of like the gospel is offensive to those who don't have faith, those who don't have a relationship with Jesus, but not to me. And I was just kind of sitting there going, no, it's offensive still to me. Like there are just certain things that it does push against my own personal preferences, my own personal desires, the way that I think God should work in the world, all of these things. And so I was just kind of like, I don't know. I thought it'd be interesting to talk through like, what are some of the ways that the gospel offends Christians that we might not even realize?
Yeah. Yeah. I would, it is true. A couple things come to mind. One is I probably wouldn't use the word offensive. I would probably use the word subversive. And so,
I like that word.
Yeah, it pushes back against the normal things that we take, like the assumptions that we have and the normal way, our worldviews and things like that. It's only offensive to people who people who don't want to change.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's like, so it's like, it's offensive if you are rebellious in that. I would probably say for most of the outside world, they're not offended by the gospel, but they actually just think it's foolish.
Right.
And that's the language that Paul uses. Like it's foolishness to the world. Like they look at the gospel and they're just like, oh, that's nice fairy tale. Like that's stupid.
Cute.
That's cute,
okay,
type of thing. But yeah, people who really understand what the gospel calls us to die to self, to lay down the ego, to not build your identity on your own works, but on the works of the one who's done something for you. Like it is offensive to the prideful, for sure, the arrogant, that type of thing. To the atheist, it's offensive, which most people aren't atheist,
Right.
There's very few atheists in the world. It's offensive.
There's a lot of atheists that hate God.
Totally.
Means
which is
you're
so
not
weird.
an atheist.
Yeah. Like it's such a weird, there's a lot of anger and aggression towards God that's there. So, but for the Christian, I think some of the things that, we're going to get to a little more into this, but one of the things is like, hey, if Jesus agrees with all of your political stances, if Jesus agrees with all of it, you probably don't know Jesus.
Yeah, not the real Jesus.
Not the real Jesus.
No.
He's probably a Jesus of your own imagination. It doesn't matter what side of the aisle that you... If Jesus doesn't cause you to critique your own party, like... something is off there in your understanding of Jesus, because he's actually really offensive towards the things that we tend to find our identity in other than him.
Well, and the power dynamics.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like the basis of the series, right? Is how Jesus has a way that he uses his power to help people find flourishing.
Yeah.
As opposed to the world's use of power is more about control and control. Yes,
totally.
And so, I think that's a really good, it's a really good point. And back to pride.
Yeah. And that's how Freddie opened the whole thing of like, hey, if you think
right.
Like something is,
I don't know.
And there's a humility there that I think is just really lacking in our culture. And I can't speak globally, but I can speak for the West. And I think our comfort, our over indulgence and stuff, our access to so many like amenities and things, like I think it creates a pride and a entitlement that is counter, that makes it really hard for us to accept what Jesus calls us to.
Well, and it makes us hard to accept that we need God.
Yeah.
Why do I need God? I have everything I need.
Yep.
And if there's something I don't have, Amazon will ship it to me in 2 days.
Yeah.
And so like, and it's the whole, and I've brought this up before, but it's easier for a rich, a camel to go through the eye of a needle than a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven. It's that we don't need, or we don't see our need for God.
Totally.
And so, and you compile that with too, like we live in this information era where everyone knows everything, which is the other thing he brought up is like that illusion of knowledge is the barrier. You can't learn if you think you know.
Right.
And we all do think we know.
So even in the I guess the thing I'm struggling with in the paradigm of the question is the question itself puts us in the position of being offended when we're the ones that offend God by our rebellion and our sin and our lack of respect and worship. And, he's the creator and we're the creature, and we don't live out in the right and proper place of that. And so we spend more time thinking about the way that God and the gospel offends us rather than the ways that we actually offend God by the way that we reject him and choose to try to live without him and our autonomous nature. And so, and I know people don't love that, but God is worthy of our worship and respect and submission. We're his subjects. He's our master, like all of this type of language.
Which is the most un-American language you could use.
Yeah, and people probably get offended by that language in there. But that's the whole story of the Bible is about a king and a kingdom and his subjects, And now listen, the good news is he's a good king. Right. He wants good for his people. He rules with love and equity and justice, for, the people that are in part of his kingdom. But we put ourselves in the place of little gods. And that's offensive.
Yeah. Well, it's back to what you were saying earlier about, the person who is struggling with their health and they're upset with God because they have a certain entitlement or a certain expectation that it should be a certain way. And it's really the same idea. Yeah. It's that pride.
Yeah, you owe me.
Yeah.
That you owe me, or things need to go the way that I think they need to go. And man, it's so hard. And I'm not trying to, I know we say these things and it sounds easy, but a huge part of growing in maturity and faith is learning how to die to the self, to the ego. Picking up our cross and following him is like not just, it's not like we're just suffering for the sake of suffering, but we are laying down the thing that is most valuable to us, which is our image, self-image, And I remember even having a conversation with Freddie one time. We were having this and he got so mad at me, and I was like, well, and I can share this, but he said something like, man, I'm being played for the fool or looking like the fool or whatever. And I said, what if that's God's plan? Like, what if that's just what God wants for you is in this moment, like just foolishness, like you're just going to play the fool in this. And it was like, no, because we have this image, we have this pride, and it's hard to like actually lay that down. And true spiritual maturity is dying to the ego.
Yeah. Which is really hard.
Really hard.
Like, I mean, it sounds simple, right? Like, I mean, you encapsulate it in like 5 words. So easy, right? No, it's actually, I do think it is impossible to do on our own, in our own strength, in our own will.
Yeah.
I do think it's impossible. It's only by the Spirit can
we
have the ability to lay down ourselves wholly and completely. And even still in this like broken, fallen state that we're in, it's for moments.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
then it flares back up in different things. But Philippians 2, I read it this weekend, that although he have this mind among you, although he was God, like we're not God.
Right.
Although he was God,
was. Yeah.
he did not count equality with God a thing to be grasped. We're not God, and yet we count equality with God a thing that we can have. You know, like that's just the brokenness of the human condition, and learning. We part of what we should be experiencing in our Christian faith is opposition that produces humility instead of anger.
Yeah. And
we don't. When we're opposed in beliefs, what we think, our political stances, our desires, our ambitions, when we're opposed in anything that we hold, what is produced in that moment? Is it humility? Is it gratitude for who God is and that we don't have to be in charge and that he actually does have a plan? Or is it pride, anger, control, wanting to be right? Like,
yeah.
Ugh. Sorry.
Yeah. Thanks for that, David. that's it for today. No, I'm just kidding. Leave me on a high note. No, that's real.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that sometimes we don't like to go that hard.
Yeah.
That deep, because
it's scary, man.
It is scary.
Yeah. And it feels offensive. But God loves us, man. Like he loves us so much, and he knows that on the other side of emptying ourselves, we'll be able to be filled with the things of the kingdom.
Right.
Like that's the good news, right? That he actually wants to fill us with stuff that has meaning and purpose and love and belonging and identity and power. Right. You know, like,
well, and like Freddie said, that we would have life to the full of the full of the full of the full. You know, and like, dude, just think about it. Like, let's unpack what you described a situation where somebody like comes at you, and what does it produce? You know, there's the angry, prideful response, or there's the humble, like, you know, thankful that God is in control and I don't have to worry about that response. Yeah. Like, which is more enjoyable? Which would you want to have?
Yeah, the peace of the kingdom.
Yes, absolutely. Totally. But even that, like, it takes a minute. Like, I had to actually think that situation through to go, no, I actually would want that, but I don't even know that I want that. It's not like this. It's not a reflex.
Right. Yeah.
It's a learned thing. It's something I have to think about. It's something that and it should be so like just natural, but it's not.
It's not. Yeah, it is. It is counterintuitive. It's a part of our sin nature. You know, it's a part of we were born into a broken and sinful world, and it's why we need to look to Jesus to be our model. Again, have this mind among you. Paul doesn't say that because he's just making a statement. He's saying that because this living in our brokenness is hard, and we need to be reminded to pattern our lives after Jesus, after the way of Jesus. And so when someone opposes my belief, I need to try to think about what it looks like to lay down my need to be right. And what does it look like to be helpful in this moment? Like, how do I love the other person, like, in this moment? And oftentimes what I'm trying to learn is curiosity.
Yeah.
You know, like instead of having to be right about something, like curiosity, or even if it's curious about a way that I can learn and grow in my understanding of whatever X, Y, and Z we're talking about, you know?
Yeah. The thing I've been talking about with my oldest son is, it's like, do you want to say what you want to say, or do you want the result that you want? You know, like, because there is this offense in me, and I want to say whatever angry thing comes to mind. Is that more important than responding in a way that can be helpful to the person, helpful to the situation, like whatever it is? And the answer is like, and he's pretty consistent. Like, I want the thing that I want, not just to say this for the sake of saying it because he knows he's going to make it worse.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's not a reflex. You know, back to that. It's not a reflex.
Not a reflex yet. But that's what discipleship is.
Yeah.
It's learning and growing, and we need healthy patterns and opportunities to do this, man. For me, like, I love words. I love to be right.
It's so good.
It does. And I was like, and just even like generationally, like I was the first person in my family to not just graduate high school, but to get a college degree and to get, master's degree. And I found a lot of power in knowledge and knowing the right things in my life. And so I have become addicted to knowing, which I believe is connected to the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, the same sin that's in the garden. Like we have this desire to knowledge is power. And power means we can control outcomes and others and people and things like that. And so
that's real.
Oh, dude. And I love it. And I've had to be careful as a pastor, the leadership role. People come to me for answers a lot. And sometimes I get addicted to that. And I need to make sure that that's not like hindering me from actually helping people.
Yeah. And sometimes what they need isn't actually the answer.
Totally. Oh,
they need to go on a journey to find it. They need, so like, am I serving my own desire to feel needed or right or whatever? Or is my focus like, what is the thing that's going to most help you?
Exactly. Yeah.
Instead of the thing that most helps me.
Like me look good, feel good. Like
I'm so smart. Oh, Pastor David is so good.
Totally, dude. And it's such a trap, man. And we get that in all kinds of things. We want, politically, like there's different visions for politically. Most people recognize the same problems. The disagreement is about the solutions of how we get there, and that's not everything, but legitimate. Like 80% of politics is just like, hey, we recognize that this is a problem, but I think we should get there this way, and you think we should get there that way. And the truth is neither way is perfect.
Right.
It's just a human response to a human problem, and we're trying to figure it out. And so we end up like. It ends up becoming a power struggle instead of a solution journey.
Yeah. That's really real.
Yeah. But it's everywhere, not just in politics. Yeah. With my wife.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Arguments with my kids. We do this with our kids. We do this with our friends. Like it sprinkles itself everywhere. And that's really what the series is about, is this power struggle that we are in as humans with God's creation and with him. And Jesus is the only one who has true power and authority to set us free from that, and it's a prison.
Yeah, that's good. I got lots more, but I think in the interest of time, we talked about David's low-key obsession. It's time for that. Drop it. Boom. But we talked about a different angle on the low-key obsession and just kind of hitting on the cultural times that we live in. You kind of mentioned, not last Sunday, but the Sunday before, that you had a lot of thoughts on, Charlie Kirk and this cultural moment that we find ourselves in. And so that's going to be our low-key obsession.
Let him cook. It's time for David's low-key obsession.
Yeah, we're gonna dive into this cultural moment, and if I was to like sum up how I feel in this moment, it is in this phrase: "You've lost your ever-loving mind."
You have lost your ever-loving.
Like that's all I could think of when I look at the world around us, and we are in a blind rage. And on both sides of the political aisle, in culture generally, and man, it started, back with some of the, George Floyd and Trayvon Martin and the Black Lives Matter argument and just stuff like that, and it went through COVID, and it's just ratcheted up in this political last season, and yeah, at the end of it, I'm like, man, everybody is blinded by rage.
Hmm.
And it concerns me, man. And we're seeing the fruit of this rage coming out. Another shooting, a bus stabbing, another shooting. Actually, there's been multiple like shootings that have happened in the last two weeks in public places. 2 schools in one like mall or something like that, and then the stabbing on the bus, and then with the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and then even the responses to the assassination to Charlie Kirk have been filled with rage.
Mm-hmm.
And
on both sides.
Anger on both sides. Yeah. And dude, it's just something is deeply broken in the human heart right now. And I think if I was to just like sum it up, is I think that we are looking, we're looking for human solutions to spiritual problems. And the culture is frustrated with brokenness. Culture is frustrated with the lack of peace and prosperity, and it's frustrating. And everybody has a solution to this problem. Like, and I know it's. I don't want to get political, and I don't want to take sides, but we've lost the ability to disagree with one another respectfully. And something's gone wrong there. Like we've put our identity and hope in the wrong thing, which is causing this type of anger, because when that thing isn't working or it feels like it's slipping away, our only response is anger.
Right.
And for the church, like if you find yourself where anger is a primary emotion for you, and not just like a secondary or a moment or a thing, but you find yourself in a place that is lacking joy and without hope.
Easily triggered.
And, just dehumanizing and blaming everybody else for what's going on. And you have no sense of like a part to play in the problem that's going on in the world, where you're not repentive and lamenting and asking God for forgiveness for your own wicked heart, but you're constantly just pointing your finger at everyone else and blaming. Something's wrong with your relationship with Jesus. Like that's what I want to say. Something is wrong with your relationship with Jesus. And if you can hear my voice, like, can you just have humility to be like, that's not the way of the kingdom. That's not the way of Jesus. Like anger, bitterness, constant frustration, putting yourself as the only just judge in the world, not trusting God to be the judge that he promised to be, like condemning people to a fate, even of death. Like, dude, and that's like whatever you want to call Charlie Kirk's assassination represents a whole segment of the way people are feeling. The only solution is just to eliminate the threat.
Right.
Cancel culture. I can't sit at the same table with you. I can't be friends with you if you think this way or believe this way, or your solution to the world's problem is this, then you are an awful, horrible, wicked person, and I can't have anything to do with you, and you need to go. Like,
how many families have been broken up where we don't spend the holidays together now?
Yeah.
How many friendships have we lost because of political ideology?
Yeah.
Being the higher priority than the relationship. And I mean, long-standing relationships completely.
Yeah. And I'm at last church. We were in a small group with a couple for years, and they left because I didn't listen to a certain political preacher. You know what I mean? And I was like, yeah, I'm not really. But just because I didn't like wholesale, like identify with this person and what they said, they left the church and the group. And it's just such a weird thing to me when I sit down and I pore over the pages of Scripture and I see what Jesus has done. And even things like blatant things like I have come to erase or break down the the dividing walls of hostility among you.
Right.
Like I've come to do that, and yet we just put them back
Build
up.
up new
we just
ones.
build up new dividing walls of hostility,
Yeah.
and it's that. And again, going back, if you cannot critique your own political party, then you have probably made Jesus in your own image, and you're not being made in the image of Christ. And I feel like we need, as the church, to have a prophetic voice against that.
Yeah.
More than anything else, we need to have a prophetic voice against that. And I most likely, I'm conservative in my political views. I'm conservative in my economic views. I'm conservative in my social views. But the way that I hold my political, social, and financial convictions has everything to do with whether or not Jesus is Lord of my life. And I know that I'm wrong in those areas. I know there's error in the things that I'm missing because of my views. And I hold them with humility and do it and just do the best I can. I'm finite. I don't know everything. I know in the end, God is going to restore all things. I know God hasn't left us, and he's still at work, and he controls good kings and bad kings.
Yeah.
Right. I trust that about God. So I'm like, man, I don't feel like I have to know everything. And
or that it has to go my way.
yeah.
Because I think that's the end all be all for all of us is I see the way the world should be.
Yeah.
Through my own eyes, according to me, yes.
Yeah.
But we miss that, and we just focus in on this is how it should be. It's not how it should be. And anytime something happens in culture or politics or whatever that goes against my view, that's where anger comes in. That's where, even if it's a better idea than my own, it's where, I start to villainize the person or the people responsible for it because I actually don't have a great argument.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to attack people instead of the ideas. And I mean, I wrestle with these things too. Most of it, at this point in my life, hits a filter that before my mouth, or before my social media feed.
Totally.
But the truth is, those things I'm wrestling with those things. I'm feeling
and
those
the
things.
way people answer or come up with a solution to the problem that's there could be different than yours and just as good.
Right.
But because it doesn't have the political ideology attached to it, we reject it. And I'll give you an example. I have a buddy who is pro-life. And so against abortion, but in his state, they were passing a law that was a pro-choice law that was going to result in the amount of abortions getting done in his state. It was going to drop it significantly. So, as someone who's pro-life, he believes that in the sanctity of life, he believes that he was going to save a bunch of babies from being aborted, but he had to identify with the policies of the opposite side of the aisle. And because he's real about his belief, and it's not just a political ideology, he was able to vote on the other side of the aisle so that he could actually get done what he was really trying to get done, which was to save babies' lives.
Yeah.
And it that just blew my mind when I was like, oh, people wouldn't do that.
No.
They wouldn't have the thoughtfulness to say that because their ideology is so much stronger than actually the ethic that they say is behind it, And so what do you do with that?
Man. And I think that's what makes it hard is because it requires a level of thoughtfulness.
Yeah.
That most of us aren't willing to invest in our politics.
Totally.
I think there's a pretty good chunk of our political ideologies that are just laziness.
Yeah. Well, we don't actually want to be informed. We just want to feel informed.
Right. And I'm including myself. I'm not like the most like politically charged guy. I'm not reading every political thing. I mean, I definitely do some, but dude, it's way easier to just vote a party line.
Totally.
Than it is.
Makes me feel righteous, the righteous mind.
Yes.
I'm on the right side, you're on the wrong side. Instead of actually addressing the issues that are at hand.
Yeah.
And it's become ridiculous. Like we can't even have conversations, and we can't even, not only can we not critique our own party, but we can't, nothing in the other party can be good, or we feel like our stance is invalidated. And that's that's simply not true. Like that's just like logically, it's just simply not true, And it is this like, it's this conspiracy mindset, man, that demonizes the other side, that keeps us from being able to engage in honest conversation. And again, man, I am not one that's like Jesus only and no politics. Like Jesus informs our politics, and we are called to be good citizens here. I want people to go out and vote. I even want people who feel called and are gifted to like lobby for their interest, and to do it in a way that shows the love of Christ, and do it. And to be honest, I think that's what Charlie Kirk represented so well, is his ability to have a public discourse without hate. Right. Like that's what he stood for. And that's what we should be feeling outraged toward, is that whatever's going on in our political situation, we have not allowed for that to happen, for us to be able to have public discourse and disagree, but still respect one another as humans. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's a false dichotomy.
Yeah,
like you're either for me or against me, and it's like no, that's not the way of Jesus.
No,
like the way of Jesus is love your enemies.
Yeah,
love, and I'm not seeing a lot of love for our enemies within the church.
Yeah.
And it's like, it requires.
But here's the funny thing. They're not even enemies. They just disagree with you.
Disagree. Right. Like they haven't done anything to you.
Totally. They just disagree with your belief system.
Yes. Yeah. And I mean, I just go back to this, like it requires faith. Like that we would actually trust God in all of his sovereignty to be smarter than me, to know what the world needs, to have a plan, and to actually let nothing stand in the way of your plan. So if I trust that God is doing all of those things, why am I so bent out of shape about how he is doing it?
Yeah.
And why am I so worried when the means towards this end, we know the end.
Yeah.
So if God's means is different than mine, why am I worried about that? It goes back to that whole, like, which is the better life, to get angry and frustrated, or to go, man, I'm so glad that God has that all in his hands.
Yeah.
And I'm not responsible for that. I care.
Yeah.
It matters.
Yeah.
But I trust him.
Yeah. And church, I feel like we've like given the devil some time off. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't even need to work, because we're just devouring one another, He's
in Mexico.
He's in Mexico with an umbrella drink going,
all inclusive.
They're doing all my work for it. Like we've given the devil time off.
Yeah.
And it's just, we can't do that, And I just, we've gotten so offendable, and we're so self-righteous that it makes me sick to my stomach, man. It makes me sick to my stomach. And listen, I'm a truth guy, but I want to try to deliver the truth in a way that's humble and accepting of people's journey. Like, it took me a long time to get to where I am at with Jesus. A long time. I've made a lot of mistakes and sinned against a lot of people, and I still got a lot of room to grow, and I'm still growing. And I hope for the next 50 years I'm on this planet, or 30 years or whatever, however long I'm on this planet, like that I continue to grow in that. And it just makes me sick when I see a group of people who think they've arrived and have all the answers.
It makes me sad.
Yeah.
It just does. Like I literally go on social media and I'm like, oh.
I just stopped reading comments.
Yeah, I mean,
same. It's like, it's crazy, dude. The things that people say, and dude, and even like, man, yeah, I don't want to get it, but man, when I saw people like celebrating Charlie Kirk's death, like minutes after it happened, like that's just, I don't even have a mind, like I don't even have a slot for that in my computer brain. Like,
no, pick someone on the other side. Like it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Like it's just
a human.
It's crazy. Yeah. How
like we
how angry we become, rage.
We believe things like, we're created in God's image and, like all of these really like spiritual things, unless your ideas don't align with mine.
Yeah. We disagree. Unless we disagree.
Now you're less human, less created in God's image, to the point where I can be happy that the opposition, has been eliminated.
Which was Cain and Abel, man.
Right.
Like Cain was like, hey,
you're making me look bad.
You made me look bad, bro. I'll just take you out.
That's it. I mean, it's that simple. Like, it's not even, he didn't do anything to him.
No. Nothing to him.
Same
he just lived his life. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, dude, the church needs to do better. Like, and I'm not trying to shame. I'm not trying. I know from my own life and heart, I dismiss people sometimes because they believe I don't fill my table or my time with people who I'm not curious anymore about what people believe or why they believe. And it's just, we got to break that cycle. And man, in my time, I know that when people experience safety and love, they're more open to change.
Yeah. You're never going to change someone's mind through an angry rant on social media.
Totally.
But you could over a meal.
Yeah.
Or
a dialogue.
Probably more accurately, a number of meals,
right.
A relationship.
Yep. Totally.
If we go into a meal with someone and they're a project, like that's not,
that doesn't help either.
No. But if we go into a meal with someone for a relationship,
curious, with curiosity and wanting to know them,
and actually wanting to help them see and know Jesus, and also be willing to, man, sometimes non-Christians can help me see Jesus.
Yeah. Oh, all the time it happens to me. All the time, dude.
Yeah.
All the time.
So
my faith grows stronger from relationships with people who don't have it, and all the time.
So I mean, like that's a relationship, right?
Yeah.
It's give and take. It's push pull. It's together, and man, I think that's the only way that we can like have any real change.
Mm-hmm.
It's MLK, like love, not hate.
Totally.
It's back to those principles. It's really simple stuff that we just lose our mind.
Yeah. And the big thing about just pulling it back is if we're united to Christ, we don't have to worry about becoming unclean. We view everyone as lepers. That's gonna somehow make us unclean, and you know what I mean. That somehow is gonna give us this disease that we would ever oppose. You know what I mean?
Whatever. I'm gonna catch pro-choice. I don't know.
Whatever it is, like you're gonna. Yeah. And it's like your identity is threatened, but we have nothing to fear in Christ. Right. Like God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and love and sound thinking. Like use your mind. Like.
Yeah.
Be rational.
Yeah. Yeah. It's good. I feel like that is a good place to maybe get to the last little bit. IRL.
Man.
And maybe it's just what we just said.
Yeah, I think so.
I think so too.
Yep. Yeah.
Man, love people. Get to know them.
Get to know someone who thinks differently than you, and be curious. Don't be angry. Like if you find yourself, here's IRL. If you find yourself angry and resistant to relationships just because they think different than you, you probably need to evaluate your own relationship with Jesus. Like,
yeah, that's the starting point.
That's the starting point. Ask questions with God, ask questions of your church family and friends, like, man, and just talk about it honestly. Like, hey, I feel this sort of way when I think about this, or I hear someone talk about this, or what is that you're like insecure about, that you feel like you need to control the situation, or that you need to be agreed with in this moment? Like, what are you afraid of in that? And like, well, you want people to be saved. Well, let me give you a little secret. The Lord is the God of salvation, not us. We don't save people.
I'm not.
Yeah, we can like declare good news. We can be good news. We can talk about good news, and we can point people to Jesus. But at the end of the day, God is the God of salvation.
Yeah, and honestly, that's actually been one of the most freeing concepts for me, because I know people who are far from Jesus. And I have literally, in some cases, tried to, quote, push them across the goal line.
Yeah.
They're kicking and screaming. They don't, it doesn't work.
It doesn't work. Yeah. God has to draw them.
Yeah. I've created this dynamic where I feel responsible. I have all this pressure. If I don't get this right, they'll never be saved. What if they die tomorrow? And I'm just going through this whole vicious cycle, when the reality is the Lord is the one who saves.
Yeah. Well, I've been having this little internal prayer when I'm talking. I'm with a lot of lost people all the time, playing tennis leagues, and a lot of the dudes that are in that league are kind of like rich, retired, like CEO execs, like type of people. And they're just worldly as all get out. They love the world, But we'll get into this like conversation, and every now and again I'll ask, like, hey, God, Holy Spirit, do you have something for so-and-so? Like, what do you have? It's not like I have to come up with, I want to be good news. I want to proclaim good news to them, but I want to do it with the Lord, not for the Lord. And those are two different realities.
Yes.
Like
different things.
Yeah. Different. Because unless the Lord builds the house, we labor in vain, man. Mm-hmm. Like, I want to do it with them.
Yeah. That's good. That's good. Well, hey, Matt, I forgot to ask you this. It wasn't last week because I wasn't on, but 2 weeks ago, I forgot to ask you, what's next? What's next week?
Oh, power. We're
More
in a
power.
series called Power. We're going to finish out Luke. We are doing 2 series. One is a little 6-week snapshot of power and how Jesus pushes back or turns upside down the power structures and systems of our world. And then after that, we'll still be in Luke, but with a little mini series called With, where we're gonna walk with Jesus in some pretty intense, specific moments in his journey to the cross. So next week we're looking at the blind beggar. Bartimaeus is his name. That's how Mark puts it, but Luke leaves him unnamed. And I'm going to talk about an encounter that this blind beggar has with Jesus.
Nice. Well, not you will be here for sure.
Yeah, I'll be here.
But you don't want to miss it. So come hang out with us next week on the Centered Podcast, next Sunday in service.
Yep.
Man, we love you. We're grateful that you spent the time with us. And like, subscribe, rate, review, all the things.
Don't cancel us.
Don't cancel us.
If
we know you're tempted.
It's okay if you disagree, but just don't cancel us.
And you know what? We won't cancel you.
We won't cancel you. Yep.
All right. We'll see you.
Thanks for listening to Centered. Be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with a friend. You can listen to Centered on your favorite podcast platform or watch on YouTube. To learn more about Mosaic or connect further, visit us online at welcometomosaic.com. See you next week.